Today on Beardo and Weirdo, we have Carrot Top, who I ask the question I've always wanted to ask him, which is, why are you so nice? Also, we learned something huge about Carrot Top that nobody's ever known. That and some great stories about rock bands with Carrot Top on today's Beardo and Weirdo.
And trust me, there's a moment in this episode you are going to want to give Carrot Top a big high five.
That was high 10.
I'll play bass. Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Anaheim, California. It is I, Chris Cale from the rock and roll band Five Finger Death Punch, with my friend, the king of credits,
comedian Craig Gass from Family Guy, King of Queens, Sex and the City, etc., etc. We are coming to Green Bay, Wisconsin, to the Epic Event Center on January 10th, and then we'll be at the Grove in Anaheim on January 24th. We're doing live stand-up comedy, followed by a live podcast taping of Beardo and Weirdo. You can join us live. Ticketmaster.com or go to getgas.com. It's Get Gas with 2 S's.
Hey, man, you forgot that one episode of Las Vegas that you're on.
One episode of Las Vegas with Alec Baldwin. We robbed the casino. I got $8 for it.
Been eating more than that, Miranda.
Yeah, what's up? There's a reason why he is at the top of the list of things to do in Vegas, because his show is hilarious. Carrot Top, our friend, our buddy is here. I see interviews with you where I go, why are you not asking the right questions? He gets asked the same questions over and over. And the first thing I've always wanted to ask you is, what is your theory about why you're so nice?
What is my theory about?
I don't. Do you have a theory about why you're so nice?
I don't know. I that's a good question, because people always say you're so nice. I mean, literally back to even when my cousin went to go meet Drew Carey at a book signing. He had a book sign, and she's waited in line for days and got her book signed. And she said, Mike, what do you think of Carrot Top? He said, oh, Carrot Top, he's such a nice guy. She goes, but do you think he's funny? She said, I said he's a nice guy. Like he would not admit that I was funny, but he said he's a nice guy. So it was always, I've never forgotten that. It was just like some people just say, he's so sweet, he's so nice, but they say, oh, but not funny necessarily, but he's a nice guy.
The reason I ask that is because I adore you so much that it hurts me to hear stories that you've told me about your dad not being supportive of you. And also you're the comedian who got you started. Like, we all have musicians, comedians that inspire us. And if we're lucky, we go far enough on that path to actually interact with those guys.
Right.
And granted, your guy was Gallagher, who already was an unhappy guy. He was already just, not an easy guy to get along with.
Channeling all that anger into the smashing of watermelons. He had that outlet, thankfully.
But when you tell the stories about how not nice these people were to you, you kind of go, wasn't.
Maybe that's why I gravitated to him, because I don't know. There's probably some kind of psych there. I don't know. George Carlin, another one of my heroes, but he was unhappy guy as we all knew. But he was also very nice to me. So it was an opposite of Gallagher. Ended up being nice to me, but Carlin was absolutely a sweetheart to me and loved my act and knew it. That was the coolest thing.
Nice.
When he walked up and says, that cup thing you do is great. And I was like, how did he know my cup joke? Like,
that cup joke. Yeah. It's a good joke.
Cool that he knew the bit,
It's a good joke. I
had a party favor with an asthma. He said, how do you do a party favor for asthma? And I thought he knew my act. Like, it was the strangest thing that, I thought he just, Carrot Top. But he said, no, that shit's good, man. So,
did you ever get any punch-ups from Carlin?
Yeah, no, not really. No,
okay.
He always said, you got your own. You don't need my help.
Nice, Carlin's blessing.
But I helped Carlin. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever get any punch ups from someone that you love them, but someone that maybe you grew up as a fan of, and the joke, you didn't necessarily like the joke, but you're like, but it's coming from that guy. I want to use it because it's from that guy.
Probably, yeah.
Out
of just respect, like, well, Gallagher was the biggest example of that, because when he came to my show, not only being my mentor and reason, I knew when I was like 12, 13, I tried to come up with stuff. He sat there on the side of the show, the whole show, didn't move, didn't laugh, didn't nothing. And that's a comic. We're comics, so sometimes you don't do that. You just sit there and you go, Yeah.
Most
comics are like, But they'll say, that's funny.
Yeah, or a long,
that's how comics approve. You know,
Sure.
they just kind of go, oh, I should have thought of that too, or something.
Yeah.
But he did nothing. So and it was a great show. It was like one of my best shows. Everything was just on point. Everything was bam, bam. And I came off and I thought, what the perfect show to see, Gallagher see me do.
Yep.
And he came and said, everything is wrong.
Oh.
Literally, that everything that you did in that show is completely wrong. And my crew is my witness. We're standing there. So I said, well, everything. And I said, for what? He said, the beginning to the end, the thing, your prop trunks need to face the other way. You do the thing at the end when you do the whatever, I don't know, that music cue you do. And he knew the whole thing, but he said, it's all wrong. It's completely all wrong. And I said, well, that's weird because that was all right. Like that was the best show I could have possibly done. So if I had done it just the opposite, God almighty would have happened. But yeah, we've all gotten things from people. You're like, oh, right on, yeah, and then you're like, that's not that. But yeah, but it's coming from a higher being. So,
yeah. Yeah. There was one moment that you told me about with Gallagher where you meet him as a kid. He's your first comedy show. He's your first stand-up show that you saw in person. Yeah. You gave him a joke. He used the joke. Yeah. So there's that thrill of like, nice. Oh my God, the guy used my joke. He took my joke and he's using it.
That's awesome.
And years later, you make a name for yourself. And you get to come back to the guy and say, I'm going to be on the Tonight Show. I want to tell you, I got booked to do the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
And he had a less than favorable response.
He didn't understand that. He like in what form of what are you doing on the Tonight Show? I said, my comedy. And he says, you do comedy? Like it was crazy.
Wow.
And then I did, and I had a great set on the Tonight Show too. So I met him and said, watch it, and I would love to get your reaction. What'd you think? I mean, I did great. It was, first set on the Tonight Show. It was all topical, boom, boom. And once again, I think he said it was horrible.
Really?
And I'm like, yeah. He said, well, it was never a win with him ever. But at the end, we became somewhat, as you could say, I don't know if you say really friendly to one another. But I did that whole homage to him in the show. And the strangest thing about that was in the making for about five years, maybe longer.
Which is the
tribute to him, kind of hitting a watermelon. But so I had it as a tribute, kind of as a joke, because a lot of times when I go places, people say, "Oh, I saw you in San Jose in '73," and I'm like, "No, I wasn't in San Jose." And they go, "You messed up my sweatshirt and got all." I said, "Oh, you think Gallagher?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "How in the hell do they confuse me with I can see long hair and all that, but okay." But I don't know. It's a completely different thing. So, where was I going with that?
Well, talking about that, you had this set up because he wasn't nice to you, and
right?
Then
so I said, so I had this thing. So he had come to the show, and one time. It's something you could find, your fans can find online. He had come to the show 6 nights in a row. And I was just so stressed out about it. And my guy calls and says, your best friend's here again. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So we stopped in the warehouse on the way in. I said, don't we have an old, it was an old gag hammer, but it was made of foam or something, but it was just a prop. And I said, let's pick up a watermelon and that hammer and a stool. And I'm going to come up with this stupid thing just to be funny. I get there and I said, I have this idea for an ending. And he said, I want your ending. I said, I'm gonna preface the fact that someone in the front row, and I've done this before, I'd say, hey, if someone's looking at me, I'd say, I hit the watermelon at the end, take it easy, Yeah. So
which is the inside joke.
Set it up that I'm not the right guy. So I set the whole thing up with someone. I said, oh, you guys are looking at me like, when are you gonna hit the watermelon? I said, at the end, I'll let you know when to put your plastic up. So everyone kind of got the fact that I was making a Gallagher reference. So he's off to the side, and I said, I'm going to come out. Now I put a stool down. It's my last thing I do at the show. Boom, music's on. I come out with a stool. I put the watermelon on. I go to grab the hammer, and right when I hit it, you do whatever you want to do. Either whatever.
Come out on
We
stage.
didn't really plan anything.
But you come out.
He didn't come. So I go to do it, and I commit. And I'm like, he's not going to come out. So the crowd's laughing. Oh, I'm going to hit a watermelon. Right when I go to hit it with a foam, it's not going to break.
Yeah.
He comes storming out and grabs the watermelon. Crowd goes ape shit. Grabs it, walks, shoves me all the way to the point where I fall down, literally fall down, physically hit me harder. That's why I could tell he really fucking hated me. Hit me as hard as I could. I fell down on the ground, and the whole crowd's like, but it's Gallagher. And he walks off, and I'm like, Gallagher, right? So I come off, and it was a big hit. So I said to him, thanks for, what a great, wow. And he's like, what are you going to do with it? I said, do what? With the footage? What do you do? I said, we're not doing anything with the footage. It's for fun. It's just for us. We don't have to post it. What's the purpose of it? I said, it's to give you love. Yeah. You're my guy.
Yeah.
So he never understood that. And then, so this is crazy. So then he left. I don't know what it was, maybe a couple months, maybe not a whole year had gone by. And I had that idea, let's bring back that thing. So I had this guy build, it's crazy, this thing.
Brilliant.
It's a bomb. I mean, the thing is it's not just that it blows up.
It's an inflatable
weighs about 8,000 pounds. Literally. It takes about 2 people to move it.
Oh my.
And the hammer weighs about 75 pounds. And I have to hit this target, and when I do it, it goes into the thing. It looks like a real, with a strobe light, looks like a real watermelon. So,
but it's confetti.
And a fake thing. So, but I do it. I get it done. I do it that the first night it kills, and I said, what a great fun. He died the next day.
The next day.
My
first time he told me that story,
I'm not kidding. My phone blew up.
I laughed so hard at that story that everyone got uncomfortable because I was like, because again, I love this guy so much.
Yeah.
That it bothers me. He's not getting love back from the people that he's giving love to.
Right.
But then I've gotten love from people that are it's shocking that I get love from. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Let's talk. You say rock and roll. You know, I'm one of those guys. I mean, you've seen my show. There's a lot of rock and roll, and I think a lot of people see me. They're like, "You're so rock and roll," and I hope they see that part of me. But I have had so much love with rock and roll stars and country stars and over the years, and they always have a liking to me. And I don't know if it was just I look like a rocker. I have makeup. I have long hair. I have whatever.
The show has a lot of rock stuff.
It's lots of rock. They haven't met me though, or seen my show. They just walk up at a Billboard Music Awards and go, "Hey, I'm a big fan." So one of the best ones, of course, was the band Queen. You can't really get much bigger than Queen. So
this story.
I have a lot of Queen stories. The one I was going to start with was just the one about getting something from somebody.
Yes.
So Roger Taylor and I, we'll get back to that, but he had already been at the show a few times. We've become friends. I'm actually real good friends. I never met Brian, but he's never been to my show. So they're here in town, and Roger says, Scott, we're going to go to the show tonight. And I hear Brian kind of in the back like, what time's up? Maybe I'll go too. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. So I'm like freaking out. I've already had Roger. Now I got Brian and Roger. And they come into my little dressing room before the show, and it's royalty, right? It's rock and they smell like rock and roll. They just, right? They smell the whole part. They come walking in, and it's like just different presence. And Roger's already seen this, so he's building up. Oh, wait till Brian's going to fucking love Scott. So I go, and it was a great, thank God, it was just one of those magical night where you're like, you can't do any better in front of, Queen.
I love it.
And they come back, and Roger's already, off saying, it's right, now, Brian. And then Brian says, that was unbelievable. And I said, well, thank you, Brian. He says, but I mean, like, well, how not every night, how do you do, is it never, that's just a normal night. I said, what do you mean? He says, like tomorrow night would be, I said, well, I don't know what tomorrow night would be as far as energy, but there might be a few different things if you add a different new joke or a topical joke. But I mean, there's an outline, like your show probably. Yeah. You guys have a set list and you go. And he said, next day, text from Brian May. He says, I don't want to be that guy, but is it okay if I come again tonight?
God.
Now I'm thinking, I don't want him to come again because I already did it. I did great. I nailed it. I'm already a star.
Right.
He's seen the best show I've ever could do. Now he wants to come back. And he brings his son. And now they come to the next night. He comes back. And this is true. It was a great show. Thank God. They come back after the show and he says to me, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, Scott. I said, what? He says, I had to figure it out if it was a fluke.
Really?
Last night.
He said it was so good. There's no way it was that good. I had to come back and see if he said, it's that good. And I said, what? Because he wanted to see the timing of the sound effects and the props and the rhythm and the timing of the
It's a show.
Stage,
it's a real show.
Yeah. So he and that was a very nice compliment because he said, I really thought it was a fluke. I said to there's no way this could be this good 2 nights in a row tight. That that good. You know what I mean? That well oiled, I guess.
All right. I hope.
And then he knew one joke I did to him. He said he did a drum, and I said I did. Like I just threw in this thing. He knew it. He said you do that differently.
Nice.
I wonder if you're the same way that Chris and I are. When someone who you really admire comes to one of your shows and says, "Wow, that was great," and they're really happy to meet you. Are you thinking the same thing we're thinking, which is, I'm never paying to go see Queen again for the rest of my life? Like, are you thinking like, I'm going to see Queen now anytime?
I got it in on this. Yeah.
My favorite part was, then I got a text from Brian May.
From Brian May?
Well, yeah, well, I know. I'm not one of those guys that kind of guy that has like, I want to see my phone fall list. But that was the only way I could let you know he wanted to come back again the next night.
But how awesome is that we are in that sphere where we're interacting with our heroes that we grew up with?
Yeah, there's nothing like that in the world. I mean, and especially if they're, and the reason they probably is because they are nice and sweet. Mm-hmm. That's probably why where they're at, because it's very rare for me, at least me, to meet people that are very successful that are not nice. But I've met a few.
Okay.
But I mean, for the most part, they're probably pretty grateful that they have where they're at, hopefully. And they understand that we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, we've had that conversation a few times about how some of the most successful people are some of the most easygoing. They can be. But then, there are some that are.
Yeah, we've all met them.
Yeah, that are exceptions to that. Do you ever get a phone call from someone that's so famous that you go, I'm not ready to have that conversation?
Yeah.
When's the last time your phone rang that you went?
Yeah. When's the last time that you were starstruck?
But a phone call was coming through that you said, I'm not picking up because I'm just not ready to have a conversation with that guy.
Well, I have a few, and you might have the same thing. I have a few my friends that come up, it says unknown.
Yes. That's either a famous person or an ex-drug dealer.
Absolutely, right? Yes. You're not kidding, right?
Yeah.
It's the scariest thing. And every time I look at it, I'm like, I know this is Gene Simmons, right?
Right.
So I just, hello. I just know because it's the only one that comes up like that.
Right.
But I have, it never calls and they comes from that thing. So I was going, and I'll go, yes, Jay. And he'll go, hey. And I said, why don't you just call me from your number? Because you always call me with unknown. But I just spoke to him a week or two ago, and because he had something, he was in a car accident or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So as a nice guy, I just checked in on him. And I realized it was probably him calling me back. So I picked it up and I said, yeah. And we had so much fun talking because he's, as you know, he's a very funny, interesting guy.
He is.
And he just throws out stuff, and the more I throw at him, he'll just like, he's got a great sense of humor, but he'll always go, that's why. He's God damn, like I get him. I love about it. He was in a car accident. And I said, how's your cock? Just something. That was the most important thing.
Do you remember where the relationship with Gene started? I know Gene adores you.
Yeah, it happened at a. You'll like this. It happened at a porn awards or whatever.
Why did I know you were going to say that? When you paused, I thought you were going to say porn awards.
Yeah, the AVN or whatever, porn awards. Yeah, and I was a presenter, no joke. And I'm like, okay, how do you turn this down? Best anal. They literally, my parents are so proud. You're like, oh, it's just weird, but it's real.
I think I recognize her. Can you turn around?
They cry and they. So I'm like, and it's me and, oh God, what's that band that I did? Cocaine on a plane. Buck Cherry. So Buck Cherry's get there. I'll go and I'm standing there and this band comes up and you probably know them. All of the band together, they weigh about 40 pounds, the whole band.
Yeah.
So I look and I'm skinny, but I'm like, holy shit, I've never, like it was smaller than this microphone.
Yeah.
And I look back, I'm like, he's just like, hey man. And I was like, it's Buck Cherry. So he said, what are you going to, what are you going to do? I said, I'm just going to come out and say, best anal, da-da-da. He goes, can you write me something? I said, well, you're not taking my line. I'll come up with something else for you, since best anal's gone, now we have, best 5-way and a 4-way, whatever. and I come off and I do the thing and I see this camera crew coming over to, I think it was E. Mm-hmm. And then I look and it's Gene Simmons and he's like, they were filming for his
television show.
Yeah.
And he said, where are you going? And I said, I'm going to do my show. And he's like, can I come? And I said, tonight? And he says, yeah. Can I bring my crew? And I said, sure. And they just showed up and I did my show. Never met him, did a show. I had the Kiss heads going and he just became a friend and then a dear friend. Yeah.
Nice. A surprisingly disarming guy. who's got a million...
I can't do it. You did the best. You did the best.
A million jokes. Well, there's the first joke he told me. I went to his house to film his show and then found out when I got to the house that they didn't communicate that to Gene, that I was going to be there. And so when he showed up, he said, "What are you going to do? Why are you here?" And I said, "I'm here to do your show." And he said, "So are you going to make fun of me? What is your plan?" I said, I want to hang out with you. Can I tell you what I thought today was going to be like? Like a perfect day for me would just be hanging out with you and telling you jokes. And then you tell me your favorite jokes. And he said, "You want me to tell you a joke?" And I said, "Sure." And this is the joke he told me in his house. He said, and it was about a 5-minute joke. It's a couple sentences to summarize. A guy dies. He goes to heaven. St. Peter is giving him a tour of heaven. Opens up a door. Inside that room, Gene Simmons is sitting on a giant throne. And the guy says to St. Peter, "What's Gene Simmons doing here?" And St. Peter says, "That's not Gene Simmons. That's God. He just thinks he's Gene Simmons." And I went, "Oh shit, I got to get out of this house. I'm going to die. I'm getting struck down by lightning. I got to get out of here."
And that's kind of the truth, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's a good story joke, but it's real Gene.
Yeah.
But he's got
it's not Gene Simmons as God. He thinks he's Gene Simmons.
He's got a million jokes. By the way,
oh, he does.
I have a theory about one reason why you are so nice. And I've never had the chance to tell you this because I haven't known where would be the appropriate time to tell you this story. But I happen to be aware of a rumor that every man on planet Earth would wish was the rumor about them behind their back. 15, 20 years ago, a mutual friend of ours in Orlando brings up your name and she says, "Hey, do you know Carrot Top?" She knows I'm a comedian. I go, "Yeah." And the conversation, of course, becomes, "Oh, he's such a nice guy. He's such a good guy." And she goes, "Oh, I've known him for so long." She goes, "Yeah, I'm really close with him. We actually hang out." And she says, "I got to tell you something. I've been hot tubbing with that guy. No joke. That guy has the biggest appendage I've ever seen in my life." And I went, "Really?" And she goes, "Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I've never actually seen it, but in a swimsuit."
So she's aware.
And I went, "Really?" There was another girl with her that went, "Oh yeah." And I went, "What?" And I immediately thought, I don't know a person alive that wouldn't want people going, "Watch out for that guy. That guy is packing some heat." Yeah. That is the greatest rumor.
And so you've heard that 15 years ago?
15 years ago.
Is that why you're saying that's why I'm a nice guy?
You're a nice guy.
That's why you're so nice. I mean, you're packing heat.
You've got a reason to use the...
There's no reason to not smile.
Yeah. It's your reason to be able to...
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, if anyone ever says anything bad, you're like, "Yeah, I know."
It brightens up your mood a bit.
Walk away, Tiny.
You wake up in a bad day, you're like, "Well, I have a big appendage." Is that what you used appendage?
That is the greatest rumor I've ever heard.
Well, it's not. Here's now. I'm gonna mess up your rumor.
Okay.
There's a comedian that made it in a book. It's a whole chapter about my appendage. Yes, it's an actual imprint in a book, and so that's what made me. I thought that's what we were going with. So it came in a book, and my mom was backstage one time, and this book was there, and she said, "Why do you have this book?" And I said, "They gave it to me, signed it." So my mom's over there milling through it, and I see her reading the chapter. It says the whole chapter. It says Carrot Top, and she's like, "What the?" Mom, don't read that. She's like, "What is this? Who wrote?" I said, I
It's been written about in a book?
Yeah. So that's good. So now, there's no longer a rumor. It's actual. It's not fake news. It's real news.
Yeah. Rich, not so little over here.
Rich, not so little.
Running Vegas.
Carrot Top's cock, the subject of a New York Times bestseller.
Yeah.
He can use the HOV lane anytime he wants. I just think that
it's not Tommy Lee, but
I just think that is the greatest rumor to know that people are whispering about you.
Yeah.
So humble about it too. He's like, "Yeah."
Well,
I mean, that's real BDE right there. You're right.
That's BDE.
Yep.
There's been books
CTE, Carrot Top energy.
And another question I've always wanted to ask you is, what is the dumbest question you get when people find out, "Wait a minute, Carrot Top, and Like, there's got to be a top 3 or top 4 of just dumb questions that you get when people meet you because you're so famous.
Oh, I'm not famous. That's what I'm recognizable in a lineup.
Yes.
This is what I am.
Yes.
You and me both.
Yes, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, if he didn't do it, he's gonna do it.
Yeah. If I'm ever in a lineup, I'm automatically guilty.
You're automatically
like
the guy.
Automatically
he
guilty.
looked just like that guy.
And by the way, side note, Chris is the guy who, and no joke, I've asked to walk me to my car because he looks intimidating.
Yeah, sure.
And now that I know that you're packing heat, I want you to walk me to my car.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah.
But dumbest question.
Well, I mean, I get a lot of. I mean, we all get a lot of them. I mean, usually, I don't. I had one last night. Actually, a woman said, "We saw you a couple of years ago. It was great." I said, "Oh, right, we're back again. We're at our friend." I said, "Great. This is just last night." She said, "You're playing drums," and I said,
drums.
"No, this is not a." So I said, "Play drums." She goes, "Yeah, play drums." I said, "In my show?" And she goes, "Yeah." I said, "No, you didn't see me. It wasn't my show." She goes, "No, you were playing drums in the show." I said, "Wait, did you come to a show where I was playing drums?" And she said, "No, it was your show." I said, "Well, there's a few bands, Widespread Panic, a couple people I've gone up on stage and I play because I play drum. Now, this is the best drum one. This is great." So I said to her last night too, "Are you sure it wasn't?" She goes, "No." I go to Elton John concert, and again, I'm lucky to know some of the guys. Most of the guys in the band, Elton the band. So we're back there before the show, and the band's doing their little typical warm up, talking, and hey, Scott. All my English accents are the same. Hello, Scott. Hey, so they're all just drinking tea and get ready to go do the show. And the drummer says to me, Kim and the percussionists were at the show the night before. He says, they say you play drums, and I said, no, I play drum. I'm not a drummer. I mean, I play drums. It's like a different thing, right? I can. He said, "Oh yeah, how many times you play?" I played in high school. So he says, "Oh, you should come up on Saturday and play." So I'm thinking, come on Saturday, and I'm thinking, what's Friday? I'm not, or whatever night it was.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm not going to be at the Saturday show. So I'm sitting out there. This is not a joke. It's on my Instagram. We're sitting there and concert's going, and all of a sudden they start playing Saturday night. So I'm like, still not in. I'm like, I'm just dancing Saturday night, and all of a sudden they just do the intro to it. Starts Saturday, the whole crowd starts coming up. And they bring him up to the thing. I'm sitting there and I look over, and the drummer Nigel is going like, right.
Oh,
so I'm like, no, I swear. So I'm like,
oh,
I go, what? And he's like, I'm like, oh. Now the other percussionist, John, the percussionist that gets all, he's like. They go get the security guy. They drag me up on stage, and I'm standing behind Elton John, and all these. And Nigel's still playing the drums, but he put me in with the percussionist and all the other drums and the bells and the thing. And so I'm like, "What the?" It happened so fast. I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm." So I just start, going in. I'm playing, and I'm hitting everything, right where it needs to be, because I know the song, I know what to do. I'm not doing Nigel's doing his thing,
right?
But I'm doing a thing, ding, chong, little cowbell, and this is serious, and it's that no, it's on, and all of a sudden you see Elton keep looking back, but he's looking. He always does it. He looks at the camera, he looks over there, but he kept looking back, kind of like right at me.
No,
it's for God. And I'm like, dude, and the crowd, it's kind of a big jumbo crowd. The whole crowd's going crazy. I'm playing drums with Elton John, and it's all done. They bring me back. The crowd's like, what? Get you? I said, I'm just shaking. I go back afterward to hang out with the guys, and they all have like a little band meeting, like we have a comics meeting, and they came in. They said, "Oh, you're gonna love this." And I said, "What?" They said, "You were the whole discussion of the meeting."
Oh,
I said,
no.
I said, "Oh God." Like, you're kidding, right? He goes, "No." And I said, "Is that bad?" He goes, "No." Elton walked in and said, "Who the fuck was on drums?"
No way.
Yeah. And then Nigel said, Carrot Top. And he says, "Why the fuck is Carrot Top playing drums?" He goes, "They said he could play drums." And he didn't get me. He just walked out. He didn't say, like, "Don't ever do it again." He just said, "All right." It's fucking weird,
Nice.
When that girl said to you, like, don't you play drums? I thought she was just referencing the eggplant.
Yeah. I thought this woman was so confused. She got him confused with the Blue Man Group.
Yeah.
I was like, people just don't pay attention.
Yeah.
On drums, Dong Rickles. I'm trying to
hyper focused. So
that Carrot Top going to shows, fans love having him at the shows, and there was I've invited him to a couple of concerts. I've run into him at a few shows. But there was one time when Tesla was like
that was great.
A hop, skip, and a jump right down the street from where Carrot Top's show was. So when Carrot Top wraps up, does his meet and greet, he can come over right as Tesla is starting.
To catch a headline.
So I said, hey, do you want to come over to Tesla's residency? And he said, yeah, for sure. And this amazing moment unfolds that I have video of, which is everyone standing on the stage is like, Carrot Top's here. Everyone's really excited. The road crew decides, hey, would you mind surprising, because the guys in Tesla don't know that he's here. Mm-hmm. Would you mind going out and doing the gear change and just hand the bass over to Brian Wheat? And he just instantly like, yeah, what do I got to do? Well, you just take this and just walk, and then you're going to grab the other. Okay, cool. And we got this video of when he walked on. This is at the House of Blues during the residency for.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah, I got the video here.
Nice.
And this is him, side stage right. And he's like, just go out there and just hand it out
that's
to him.
Funny you have this.
And Brian Wheat has no idea.
No, he didn't.
That
he looked at me like, the fucking Carrot Top?
Oh, and I think his nickname is Shaggy, the guy with the bandana on his head.
It's Dave.
And so here, there's Dave Rude. And then he walks up to Brian, and Brian, what the hell?
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
And then the other guy's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Everybody was excited.
No, it was cool. That was cute. And what a great fun band they are.
Absolutely.
Man, they were fun.
The first time I met Brian was when we were opening up for Metallica. And I was walking backstage, and I did a double take. I was like, wait, do you play bass for Tesla? He's like, yeah. So I said hi to him. We go our separate ways. I'm up on stage, and the way the stage is, it's the round stage with a couple of platforms on the outside. Yeah. And I'm walking around, and the platform is way the fuck out there. And I see him. I point at him. I wing a pick, hits him right in the chest. He's like,
really?
Oh,
that's great.
Wow.
Yes. I just made friends with Brian from Tesla.
That's great.
I love that. There was also a moment after the show where
so good.
My girlfriend, who you've met a few times, Darcy, started filming because Carrot Top started to tell the guys in Tesla, he's like, I actually have a joke about you guys. And he started to pitch the joke.
Oh, my God.
And we have video. Can you put that video
up? Seriously?
Yeah, there was a moment.
Welcome to This Is Your Life.
When you were talking to Jeff and Brian.
Oh, I know that.
5 different pictures.
You know, it's funny. I do that joke, and it kills every night.
Yeah.
Nice.
It kills. And I did it last night, and I remember I've now been kind of, what do you call that? Messing with it more and adding little things to it. Because I would just say, we took the whole crew, the whole Beta Carrot team. We went and see the rock band Tesla. Have you ever seen rock? And people, have you seen them live? And the picture comes up, all the Tesla thing. And it always gets a laugh. And I said, that was a great show, long show, but great show. Because they had to recharge every song, and everybody gets, it just gets this stupid laugh. And then last night I just embellished it, so I kept saying, it was great. It smelled like it's hard to hear the drummer, and then I kept working, so I'm like, shit, the joke's starting to get, more legs to it. You can't hear the drummer, it smells like rubber burning. It's like the Tesla, have you been to it? So, and sometimes when I do it, I'll say, if it doesn't get a laugh, I'll say, it's not you. I actually told that in front of Tesla, and they didn't get it either. So if it didn't work in front of Tesla, it's not going to work with you.
Isn't that crazy how in moments when a crowd is right there with you, and the crowd is explosive, that it will inspire more. Oh,
sure. You add,
in that moment.
That's where the best writing happens, right?
Yes.
On the moment where you're, it's just going perfect, and you just start adding little extensions to it. Then if you go back and you remember it, then that's how it becomes a bit, right? Because you start from a good crowd.
Do you film every show? So
every show, but I never go watch it.
Isn't that crazy how painful, whenever new comics, I don't know if you have like a standard advice that you tell new comics, but for
I said, don't get into it.
Don't get into it.
I don't listen at all.
Yeah, he's been doing stand-up for 4 years and doing great, and sharing from his own life experiences of being a rock star, and we've got shows we're doing around the country together, but my advice is always the most painful thing that you can do is the best thing you can do, which is film yourself and watch it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, too.
You'll know instantaneously what is wrong with your set.
It's definitely a nice little...
That's probably why I don't watch mine.
It's a reality check, because there was one show that we filmed in Australia, and I walked off stage, I was like, oh, I crushed. Went back, can't wait to watch this. It's like,
oh no.
Ugh. Maybe I need some more self-awareness.
That's some self-awareness.
Jeff was saying that
great.
Jeff was saying there was some funny story about being backstage with REO Speedwagon.
REO Speedwagon. Oh my God, they're wonderful, wonderful people. Yeah, he's one of those guys.
Kevin Cronin,
and the Jesus genius, beautiful guy. And he's one of those guys when the phone rang. I'm like, oh my God, it's Kevin Cronin. Like, REO Speedwagon. What do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were backstage at a show, and it was just, it's like any other show. They had the pizzas and just like any show, right? We have pizzas, and I said, oh God, it's like we're on the road, or the after show food. And he said, oh yeah, I forget you're in show business. I'm telling you, there's catering over here, and there's this, and there was like this little pasta bowl, and he said, if you want some pasta, he started putting some like spaghetti on his plate, and he took some the cheese, and I made a joke with the Parmesan cheese that it was Coke. I said, Coke, some Coke. And he just was like, Scott, do you have any idea that back in the day was real? Like, he said, this was bowls of Coke.
Really?
And he said, the fact that I said, well, I was just being stupid. He goes, no, they were bowls. And so he would just see his face. He started telling stories like, oh no, there was bowls and bowls of Coke. So there was no spaghetti. It was just Coke, just bowls of Coke. And I said, well, why didn't I meet you then? Right? I had to meet you now with spaghetti.
That's where the song "Keep On Running" came from.
On. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Keep on.
I started in '93, and I heard rumors about comedy right before I got in that it was a common phrase. And I wonder if you heard this at the end of a week of working at a comedy club, that it was a common phrase for owners to say, "Would you like to get paid in green or white?"
That never happened to me, but I know I've seen it happen to somebody.
Really?
Yeah, not in comedy.
Oh, in music?
Nope.
At the porn awards.
Actor.
Yeah.
No, actor. And a big actor. And I somehow got friendly with him, and we were on the Tonight Show together. Now they'll be able to find out what it is. Because I was on the Tonight Show, and afterwards I said, I've always watched this show as a kid. When they say, we're going to go get dinner or something, what do you guys do? Like, because you film it like 2 PM, right? You think it's you're a kid, so it's midnight. They're going to go to dinner after the Tonight Show, so it's 2 PM. It's not quite the same, He said, "Oh, I'm going to go on Sunset Strip and go to this little bar, and you want to join me?" And I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I said, "Yeah, sure." So I go to this bar. I get there, and we had dinner, and he had some friends with him, and the waiter came by. And he says, "How do you want?" He was gonna pay him. He gave his card. He says, "How do you want your tip? But you want Coke or cash?"
Oh no!
And I remember laughing, like watching it, like that's funny. And the
it's
guy
a joke.
Said, no, it wasn't a joke.
You thought it was a joke.
Yeah, he said Coke or cash instead of like white or green. He said Coke or cash, and the kid said Coke. And he looked at this guy and he gave him a bag of Coke. And I remember thinking, now this is Hollywood.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm hanging out with real shit, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
You were never a big drug guy though, right?
Never. No. I look like I totally look like I right? People are like, you look strung out. I'm like, no, I'm just tired. But I never did drugs. Never. I don't know if it was in my upbringing. I never was fascinated by it. Never really, which is crazy, right? Being in show business. That's one of the first things they say. You got to stay away from all that. I never was attracted to it. I never cared.
Is that the first time you become aware of drug culture is in stand-up, or did you see it growing up in high school?
No, definitely older. High school, we didn't. No, I had a family of NASA engineers.
Yeah.
We did. I was just sitting home last night. I was thinking this would be not a bit. It's just everywhere you turn on the TV the next day, today, tomorrow is all about. Thanksgiving and other families getting in fights at the dinner table. I'm like, we never fucking talked. Like never. We sat down. My dad would eat. My mom would eat. I would sit. I look at my brother and I'm like, can we go play? And they say, after we have coffee, and then and we'd go play. We never talked. My dad never spoke at dinner. We never say a goddamn word.
Wow.
Literally, no one spoke. They wouldn't even ask how our day was at school. We just ate.
So did you find yourself I've had similar dysfunction.
Which is not a bad thing. I liked how I grew up. We just didn't talk. We didn't do anything.
Right.
Yeah. So,
I had some dysfunction growing up. Did you have a question?
I was just saying, like, as the son of a NASA engineer, how was school for you?
Tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very high expectations.
I was going to say, because
and how did you meet those expectations?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Drop out. We're going back to a reason earlier where my father not into me getting into stand-up comedy. He wanted me to work at NASA and be an engineer like him. And and when you think you're kids, you say that, you're like, oh, okay. And then you realize, oh, wait, you got to be smart, Like, you can't just do that, And then my brother went to the Air Force Academy, became a pilot, F-16. And I'm like, oh, I'll just do that. I don't know how to read. So I can't, I can't do that. So I said, I'll just be, I know what I'll do. I'll be a comedian. That's what I'll do.
Yeah. Apply different intelligence, and it clearly worked. I mean,
it just happened out of the blue, too. Yeah. It wasn't that I thought about it. I remember with Gallagher, I would write little jokes. I was 13 or whatever, 14. But I never thought about it, doing it as a profession, right? Just was one day I was in college, and I just said, I'm going to go up and do an open mic. And I told, old jokes. Guy goes to proctologist, that kind of stuff.
Wasn't there a friend who supported you that night, came with you?
Yes.
Okay.
My roommate, Jared,
okay.
yeah. Came and it was funny. That it wasn't my thing, but it was funny. Everyone liked it. So they had the next semester, they had another one. Everyone said, you should do that again. You were a hit. So I went up again. I did it like 2 times, then finally the third time, they said, I started thinking I should come up with my own thing. And so I came up with this my own little thing. And then I went to a real comedy club and tried to audition for their thing. And that's going back to what you said, going back to reality.
Was it Bonkers?
No, it was at the Comedy Corner in Fort Lauderdale, in West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
And it was on the radio every day, Comedy Corner, 2000 South 60 Highway. And I was a courier in college taking credit reports to banks. So I was in this car after school. I'd drive to Jupiter and back from Boca. So I'd listen to talk radio, 610 WIOD, news talk radio, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and the Palm Beaches. Now, Neil Rogers. He was my favorite, Neil Rogers. And so I'd listen to all day. And at the end of the day, they would have the 5 o'clock funnies brought to you by the Comedy Corner, 2000 Sexy Highway. And the one time they was like, we have this contest. They could build it up, come down and audition. So I was like, well, shit, I'll go down and audition. Same thing. I get there. It's like, 2 in the afternoon. There's nobody in the club. Woman comes out and she's like, all right, audition for me. And I'm like, oh, I thought I was going to do it in front of a crowd. She's like, she goes, oh, no. Well, I mean, eventually, but yeah, just show me what you have. And I literally stand there like, so just do my act. And so I just started, I'm like, wow. And just started. And she was like, she liked my presence and she liked my personality. But she said, your jokes are, what are those jokes? I said, they're because I perform at the college. She goes, they're very funny, but it's in a broader audience. I don't think they're going to be, it's not all college kids. So they're not probably going to get the fact that you're returning your books or, highlighting your marker with a black mark, something. So she said, they're funny jokes though. But she said, could you come up with something more broad that would be more, So I said, yeah, I'll try. That's when I went, and I went back to my dorm. I was trying to write broad jokes, and I had a Crime Watch sign on my dorm that I'd stolen. And I did. I stole it. Yeah, that was the whole thing, right? And everyone that came to my dorm would laugh, like, "Where did you get the sign?" And I said, "Right,
I stole it."
So I thought that might be a funny thing. So I started thinking there was a couple signs in Boca that I thought were funny. One was, of course, that one. It was the Crime Watch sign. I said, how good is their Crime Watch? Not watching their signs.
Right.
And then they had like a no train horn between certain hours. And I said, that's when you need the horn. The hour, the days you need, the time that. So I started collecting all these signs. And I went back to an audition for her. And one of the main, she said it's funny, but it wouldn't work. It would work, but Boca Raton, the main road is called Butts Road. And so I said, so where all the assholes live. And, that would be the opening joke. And then I'd do the thing. And then the Crime Watch was the, closing, whatever. So I did that in front of her. And she's like, oh my God, you're onto something.
Nice.
Like, I really like the visual signs, and I had like 4. She's like, you can get more of them. And I'm like, well, so I just started thinking in more signs. So I said a slow children at play sign, which is still out there. There's just a stick figure with no feet. And I said, well, no wonder they're slow. They don't have feet. And it would kill. Yeah. And so that's why I started all the props. It's just those little things.
That's awesome.
And then she came back and said, if you can come up with a few more or what didn't have to be props, just something else. I think you could audition for the talent show. So that's when I started. I just went, how about a hat for old people? Because Florida's full of, everyone made jokes about old people. And you can't see their heads when they drive because they're So I made this hat with an old lady's head on a spring. So when they drove, you could see their head.
Yeah.
I'd hold a big like hula hoop for the steering wheel. And behind me, I'd go like this. And it fucking killed. And so I got the audition and then I won.
Really?
Nice.
And everybody was,
and
when all the hate started right away. That's how early the Carrot Top hate started. I opened this contest. I was like 18 years old, 19 years old, and I won. And they were just like, "What the fuck is this guy?" And I'm like, I just came out of literally out of nowhere, and I just kept writing more props. And she kept saying, the more it's almost elementary, but the more the more props, the more time you get to do.
Exactly,
it's that simple. So I'd say, because we were doing one night doing a whole bunch of comics, and they said, you do 5, you do a trunk, and I just thought that was hilarious. Right? You do 5, you do 10, you do a trunk, and I'm like, So I thought if I can pick up with 2 trunks, I can middle.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, that is.
So I just kept writing, hoping I can get enough good stuff. I mean, I had one solid trunk of really A stuff, and then the second trunk was kind of shit. So I'd have to, I have to get 2 really solid trunks. And then I would consider myself, I could go and do a show somewhere. And that's what I did. I finally built enough crap to do, a middle. And they called and they said, can you do a middle? And I middled. And then I said, if I could do another trunk, I can headline. So I just kept building stuff.
Now, do you still physically build the props yourself? Or do you have a team at this point?
No, I usually build them unless it's something required like that. If there's engineering, but I write them all. And then if there's something I can't quite make, I'll have a guy. But I usually make it myself.
Nice.
I go back and I go buy the stuff and do it myself because I love the building process too.
Absolutely.
I love that it starts with stealing signs. Like I wonder if while he was on stage auditioning for these shows, if he was aware that there was stories going on in the local news about a crime wave, like signs being stolen all over.
That's what it started. It started. That's funny because that's how it started with the Crime Watch sign, which was stolen. And the other ones I didn't steal. I just made. But then I stole a bank tube.
Whoa.
And I didn't steal it. What I did was I went to the bank and I said, could I, buy this?
Yeah.
And they were like, buy what? And I said, the tube that you shoot over to the thing. And they're like, no. And I said, well, no, I literally told them, I said, I'm a comedian and I want to use it as a prop. And the bank guy came out. It was my bank that $4 in it. But I said, he finally one day I went to the bank. He said, were you looking for one of those tube things? And I said, yeah. He says, all right, let me see if I can. He came and gave me one. And I said, oh my God, this is going to be so great. Because I said, I was already out. That was a joke. I had my Crime Watch. I said, shit, I was already out. And then I hold up the bank tube. And then I'd hold up the pen one, the rope. Oh. So I had all these things. It was great. Yeah. And all this stuff that I stolen. But then of course, you would, turn it into a different joke. Like, the bank tube now used to be a redneck bank robber, had a gun and a note when you shoot it over.
Right.
Give all your money or I'll shoot yourself. Like, oh, fuck, we're getting robbed.
Do you remember being thrown by the hate that would come your way? Because we all go in towards the thing that we love. And now with social media, we all see hatred on social media. But do you remember early recognition of the hate and going, what? Why what's the problem with what I'm doing?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, do I remember the exact first one? I mean, I remember.
Do you have an early memory of going?
Well, even like you said, all the way back to just being an not open micer, but even back to a lot of the comics were kind of like, Carrot Top, and they would make their joke. And I would say the same thing. I just spoke about this the other day with someone. When I started in comedy, one of the grail of really was your own stuff.
Right.
Don't steal. The holy grail was you doing your own act is so great. And when you steal, and I'm going to bring up any names, people steal people's acts.
Sure.
That just takes you out of the game, right? Because you're a thief and no one respects you then. So I was always just so proud of the fact that I had this original kind of act, right. And no one's doing a Crime Watch sign. No one's doing paper cups and string with a phone. No one's doing, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, no one's doing
right. This is what we're supposed to be
That's
doing.
what made me more proud of my act that I could walk into a club and say, oh, this is mine. And I didn't steal it. And so that made me upset more when they still didn't want to let me into the club in a sense, because I'm just the prop guy and that. I'm like, but at one point, which they would do, like a Larry the Cable Guy would come over and say, "Holy shit, that's smart stuff." And so you get a little bit of love, and then you get like a George Carlin. You're walking through the airport, right during the heyday of all the hate when I was doing commercials and all the stuff. And I'm in the Philadelphia airport, and I see him, and I just walked up, and I said, "I'm not going to bother." He said, "Oh, for God." And he said that I was funny, and he remembered my act, or the joke, and that was probably the turning point, a pinnacle point of me not giving a shit about anybody else not liking me, because I could say there's a guy in Nebraska online just going on and on and on about me, but George Carlin just walked up to me at the airport and said, "You know, that was funny."
Yeah.
So you have to have those moments, and then of course you get, as you do more, then you get the Bill Maher's that like you, get the Chris Rocks, you get all the ones that Shanlings, all the people that you really, really, really love, and they come up to you and they say, "You're funny." So and then you grow up a little bit.
As big as this podcast is, you've also done the Joe Rogan show, which I love the appearance on there. So
statement.
I mean, it's quite the fall.
Clip. Quite your clip.
Yeah, I just did it again. Yeah, I always did it again. So it was great.
Absolutely fabulous on there. And you did Kill Tony as well. Are you seeing like a bump in like new audiences coming in seeing you because of the Rogan
Absolutely, yeah. It's interesting actually too. It kind of goes back to when I was doing like AT&T commercials where I was everywhere, and I would just get everywhere. People like Carrot Top, and that really has, as you say, a bump in the thing. A lot of you. Last night, a lot of people. I saw you, Joe, and Kill Tony. A totally different demographic. Of course, my fans are still, thank God, they're all still coming. But you get the younger people that on Kill Tony that they're like, check you out, or even going back when I like Family Guy, you'd get people that come to see the show because they don't know what I do, but they just saw me on Family Guy. So right, Carrot Top. What is this? So you're always, hopefully, that's the key, right? Is always building new fans and turning 18-year-olds into like, oh, Carrot Top fan, like they didn't know.
Yeah, comics love you. It's and it's gone full circle.
Yeah, it's gone better, I think, with comic. What's this? They had a great analogy of this. Adam Carolla, I did his show not long ago, and he said, yeah, you know what's funny about you? He's like, it's like you've gone through they fucking hate you, to fucking love you, back to now they fucking love you. I said, wait, when do they hate me? He said, you know what I mean? I said, no, they never hated me.
He's like,
they
well,
loved you, then they fucking hate you. Now they love you again. I said, well, then you know what's next? Then back to the fucking hate.
Yeah.
So I got to be prepared. It comes in cycles, and I enjoy this love cycle.
Early on, when I first started 30 years ago, it was similar to the Nickelback thing, where it was like people would just make jokes about things, and it's like because it was just cool.
Oh yeah,
right.
Same with Five Finger Death Punch. I mean, we get so much like online stuff, but then we're hanging out with Metallica. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll always remember that, and it was literally a few months into doing open mics that Josh Wolf, who now lives here in Vegas, said, hey, Carrot Top is one of the most successful comedians on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And he sells more tickets than most anybody else out there.
Is it the longest running residency in Las Vegas?
Is it?
I don't know. People ask me that every day. Yeah. I don't know, but I don't know really.
Okay.
Well, I do wonder.
I mean, it's pretty long.
We'll put it right here if that's the case.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the longest. If I say that, then I'm screwed. But I know it's long. I mean, this is our 20th year at the Lux.
As long as.
Yeah. Yeah. And
clip it.
Yeah.
Robin Williams over here.
We definitely have a long, 20 at the Lux or 10 at MGM and 1 at Bally. So it's a long years, and then 40 total in comedy. But I don't know. And the longest running in Vegas show, we might be in the running, I think. I don't know, Penn and Teller or Copperfield or one of those.
Well, the rest of that thought that Josh Wolf had, and this is early in my open mic days, was who are we to judge anyone if we're open micers and that guy clearly has people saying, I love him, I want to go see him. So who are we to, and I just remember being a fly on the wall for the jokes about Carrot Top and Josh saying, and I remember thinking like, wow, that's a great point. Yeah, that's, but I had no feeling.
Josh.
Ticket sales don't lie at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder, with that fame, when someone like Mötley Crüe shows up in your life and they want to hang out with you, do you ever feel like, am I cool enough to hang out with my
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I found out that I'm not.
Yeah.
But I gave it a whirl. But yeah, no, you exactly what you think. You're like, I am like a nerd, man. I'm not. This is
growing up in a NASA.
This is
family.
a rock and roll band, like a real legit rock. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, I drink a non-alcoholic beer. Sorry,
Yeah. Of all the guys in Mötley Crüe, was it Vince that you had the closest friendship with?
Yeah.
And then
for sure.
And did it start with?
We're still great friends. Yeah, Vince and I. Yeah.
Did it start at one of your shows? Did it start at?
It started at gosh almighty, I'm trying to think exactly how that did happen. I think now this is going to be here's a
Please.
So I want, God, I'm trying to think. I know Nicolas Cage, of course, lived here forever, and so. Vince and I I'm trying to think how the hell I first met Vince, for God's sakes.
But the three of you would hang out.
Yeah. But that was the weird thing. So the first time that I went, I had invited Nick to my show, and he said, great man, and so finally they said, Nick is coming to the show tonight. So he came, and then we became friends. And then he realized, hey, you're friends with Vince too. Yeah. And I said, yeah, well, fuck, he's a big, huge Vince buddy, So they're the deal. They're rock star, movie star, and then there's
big
Carrot Top, right? So no, literally. I mean, I'm sitting there, like thinking, like, what's wrong with this picture? Like, why am I here? Literally.
It's the beginning of a joke.
This
right there.
Is horrible.
Yeah.
Like, I should not be. There's anyone but me should be in this picture. But we befriended each other. We all became friends, and I remember they can have fun. And I remember one time I'm just sitting there, like, I can't keep up. I can't do anything. I'm not a rock star. I'm not this and that. And they kind of knew that. They're kind of like, you're actually not really cool. And I said, I told you that when we all first met.
Why did we invite
you? Literally, why are we part of this club? But that was a very interesting. We'd go places, people would just freak out, like, Nicolas Cage, Vince Neil, and Carrot Top. How does that happen?
They all walk into a bar. And I would say
the same thing. What do you mean? How does it not happen?
Yeah.
This is the perfect,
You have one story that blew me away. Chris and I were hanging out at a festival, and I introduced Chris to Alice Cooper, and Alice started telling us stories about, was it Groucho Marx that used to hang out with him?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And Groucho Marx came to an Alice Cooper show in the 70s and brought George Burns to an Alice Cooper show.
Yeah.
You told me a story. It was really brief. And I remember going, it might've been the night that you had me open up the show, but you told me that Little Richard knew who you were.
Oh yeah.
Little Richard. Or were you not sure that he knew who you?
I was on the Tonight Show.
Oh,
he was on the Tonight Show. I go back now and try to find these things. So I just found it again. It was I forget what year it was. And it was New Year's Eve, and it was Little Richard, me, and someone else. I forget who was on the show. And before the show, you get your makeup on, and I already got my makeup. You get your makeup on, and you get there to do your stuff. And so Little Richard's in, everyone has their dressing room. So I said to Jay, could I meet Little Richard? And he's like, well, yeah, no, let's go in there. And I'm like, well, no. I'm thinking I walk in there. No, so I knock on the door, and he opens the door, and Little Richard is. Now, you've been to the Tonight Show dressing rooms are literally small in this studio.
Yes.
There's enough for you, your agent, your manager, and one of the guys fucking raping you, right? So you're sitting there, and that's it. And you're just sitting, you can't, there's nothing. He opens the door, and there's probably 75 people in that room.
Oh, my.
Wow.
I swear on my life. I'm like, what the? And he's not little anymore, right?
Right.
That's all I remember. He was just, he had no shirt on.
Oh, wow.
They were doing his makeup, and he had the big, those big eyes from, and I just said, I didn't even say anything. The door, he opened the door, he goes, "Can't up, get in here, baby." And I was just like,
I love it.
I mean, just kiss me and
I love it.
And I was like, and all the other people look at me like, what, who are you? And why is he kissing you? And he's supposed to be kissing us. We're in here with him. And I said, because I'm Carrot Top, bitch. No. And so,
baby.
No, but I mean, it was, those are those moments in life. You're just breathtaking. You're just breathtaking.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, you're awesome. He's like, oh, stop it, baby. You're awesome. No, I said, no, like, my God. And now you go back and watch, like, that's the real shit, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, Elvis, everybody, the best clips you've probably seen it, I'm sure, when he comes out for that award night. when he says, now it's time for the best new artist of the year.
Me?
He says, me.
Yeah.
And everybody goes nuts. And he goes, no, I am serious. I'm not being serious. I have my times I've been, Mick Jagger, you was stolen from me. Look no, it goes on, but it goes on and on, long.
Yeah.
Because the unedited one is really long.
Yeah.
The one they show on Instagram, kind of they cut back to him going, okay. He goes on for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And finally, everyone, Mick Jagger is going like this to, everyone is kind of going like, okay, like you made your point. We did rip you off.
Mm-hmm. The acknowledgement is an amazing moment.
Yeah.
Did he say something to you about makeup? Am I remembering that?
No, it was a different. Oh, you went ahead. Jesus.
Yeah. I thought I'm mixing up two different stories.
It's similar.
Okay.
It's Boy George.
Oh, okay. Boy George.
So I was at a Boy George concert by accident.
Yep.
We all had the
right.
Culture Club's going on tour next summer. I want to go see him.
Nice.
Couldn't have been nicer. Couldn't have been a greater show. My era. I go back and he's standing there and he says he's bigger than I thought. He's a little taller and a little bigger. I thought he was a little.
Yeah.
He's kind of. And what had happened? He was on with Vince Neil on that Apprentice.
Oh, that's right.
And that's how when I went back, he said, "Oh, now they had a feud on the show. It was a real one."
Oh, okay.
Boy George and Vince Neil?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so I go back and I'm saying hi to him, and I said, he goes, because I went to go, like I was in LA and they were filming, and it was at my hotel. I went to the bar and they were filming The Apprentice. So I walked in and there's Vince. He's like, dude, come on and say, and Boy George. So he said, they got into a big thing, like a physical, like he was going to kill him.
Ooh,
and so when I go back to say hi to him, he says, oh yeah, you're friends with Vince. And I said, yeah. He says, I would have knocked his fucking teeth. I said, and here's the weird thing. I said, he might have. No, because Vince is a scrapper, right? You don't fuck Vince Neil.
Oh, right.
But Boy George, that guy.
Taller.
Not just that, he was, you could see he's got some anger in him.
Really?
I was like, oh yeah. And he was, I'm like, you know what? I said, you might have been able to take him, He says, oh, I would have knocked his fucking teeth. I did that. But then he stops. He's like, well, anyway. He says, who did your makeup? And I'm like, what's that? No, what he said is, are you gay or are you straight? And I said, oh God, that's a weird question. No, it is. I said, that's a weird question. Why would you ask me that? He says, who did your makeup? And I said, me. He goes, oh God, you're straight.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? He's like, come here, you got a smudge, darling. You got a smudge. I just thought that was brilliant. Yeah, because I did my own makeup. He looked at me, he's like, yeah, you were definitely not gay. You did your own makeup. That looks like shit, dude. Yep. You gotta work on that.
Well, I promised you I would only have you here for an hour. It's been an hour now, so thank you for coming in. You have so many great stories, and it's because you're such a likable, funny guy. When I saw him the first time, first of all,
sweet.
You did me a solid that I've never seen anybody else do for anyone at a roast. It was my first televised roast. It was the roast of Gene Simmons, and I was scared to death because you only get one shot at it, and if you mess up, you not only are messing up on camera, the other comedians just pounce.
Vultures.
Yeah, they're vultures, and they'll just pick away at your corpse. Mm-hmm. So I'm scared to death. I got through it. I got my laughs, and Scott goes on a couple after me, and he starts picking apart everybody on the dais. Look, we got Lisa Lampanelli here. Joke, joke, joke. We got Andrew Dice Clay here. Joke, joke, joke. And he said, Craig Gass is here. And I always brace myself to like, I'm just going to laugh through all these painful jokes. And Scott paused and said, I can't even make fun of you, man. You did so good up here. I can't even. And I went, whoa. And he said that on camera. A legit comedian, a headliner, said that about me on camera. And I was like,
I didn't mean it, but I mean, it was on camera. I wanted to get some.
And that story right there is the whole reason he brought you in here today. Just so he could say, Carrot Top likes me.
I remember having a line in that, what I thought, because remember Danny Bonaducci was on it.
That's right.
And he was going on and on about me, because it was when I really was, I had like 40 more pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And
he just goes on, just ripping on me. So finally I got up. I said, by the way, another hand for Danny Bonaducci. And I said, this is what you would look like if you took care of yourself. because they were making fun of me for looking like I said, I fucking take care of myself.
Absolutely.
I work out, I eat right. Because he was, and he's a friend of mine, but he looks like 90, right?
Yeah.
He was like, yeah. And I said, this is what you would look like if you took care of yourself, right? This is what you would have.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The first time I saw you, you had that muscle on you.
Oh, yeah. I saw a little bit, but not, yeah.
He's doing like all the act and whatnot. And then he comes out at the end, shirt off. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah.
He is ripped.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for
you.
taking care of yourself.
Yeah. I stopped now. That was years ago.
At every roast, it's not the main guy that gets the biggest hits. It's always somebody.
No, it is, right? Isn't it? It's like, what happened to, you were roasting Flavor Flav. Why am I being picked on?
Right. And at that roast, it was Danny Bonaducci who was getting the most shrapnel.
That's awesome.
On him. But
yeah, because he was getting a lot of shrapnel.
So after you were nice to me at the roast, we exchanged phone numbers, and like with everyone else, when I get excited to meet somebody, he's like, I'm going to go see Carrot Top now for free. I'm going to go see a show.
Nice.
And I was so excited to come see the show.
That's great.
And not only is Carrot Top's show one of the best shows you can see in Vegas, I found myself as a comedian. I've been doing stand-up comedy now for 32 years. Every time I see his show, I actually become the lowest common denominator of an audience member. I repeatedly say out loud, that's so true. That is so true. That is so true. It's one of the funniest shows you can see.
Yep.
And you have to go see Carrot Top. And everybody already knows that. And I feel like since the Hangover movie, that one of the top items on your bucket list when you come to Vegas is also to do the meet and greet with Carrot Top. You got to have that. And do people request, can I hold up some cocaine while we have this picture? Like, since the Hangover movie with the cocaine, do people?
Yes. Yeah. They're like, you know Coke? I said, it was movie Coke.
Yeah.
It's not real Coke. We're in a movie. It was sweet and low. We didn't snort it.
Where do people?
That came back. Now I got to tell you this. So
please,
just because the last name drop one since she started this, because this is real. Sting came to the show one night, and this is again, we've had all celebrity, but this is, I'm like, Sting? Like, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, I just didn't know. I was so nervous. I didn't know what to do. And I've already had Queen. I've had Shania Twain. Just take it easy. It's just another guy.
Yeah.
But it was something about him. He came in. He's so cool. I kind of just heard he's not that nice, right? So I'm like, well, let me start I start this over. So this is the week before he was going to come to my show. My buddy was going to go see him in LA at the, whatever that outside thing is.
The Hollywood Bowl?
Hollywood Bowl.
Okay.
So we're at my hotel bar. I just go at the bar. My friend's going to come join me, and then we're going to go to dinner. So I sit down at the bar, I order a drink, and at the guy next to me, he's got it like this. And it's like a sweater or something. So I went down, I said that, and it turns around, it's Sting. And I said, I just said, how's it going? And he went, right. And he didn't say anything to me. So my buddy comes in, and he said, dude, I'm so jazzed. I'm going to see fucking Sting tomorrow. And I said, what? He goes, Sting. I said, when is that? He goes, tomorrow. I said, he's fucking right next to me. Now my friend Toby says, he's like, what are you talking about? I said, the guy next to me is fucking Sting.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks, he's, holy shit, it is. So I said, right when I said that, he got up and walked out with his friend to the valet to get in the car. So I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to run after him. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm going to run after him. So I went after him. He went out to the valet. I said, Sting. And he turned around and he says, what's that? I said, did I leave my sweater? I said, no, I would say, this is great. I said, I just want to let you know my friend Toby here is going to see you tomorrow night. And he goes, a lot of people are.
Oh!
So I didn't know how to take that, right? I thought that's just his sense of humor, or he's just a dick.
Yeah.
So I thought, one, it was funny.
Yeah.
A lot of people are. And then he didn't say like, haha, got in the car and left. So I'm like, what? So then, this is like 2 weeks ago. After that, Sting's coming to my show. And I don't think he knew that was. So he walked back and I said, I met you at the Four Seasons in LA. And he says, oh yeah. And I'm like, he didn't remember that. So then I realized that's his sense of humor. He's just kind of, so my crew is all sitting on the couch watching the Golden Knights. Everyone's nervous. He's standing there. He's just standing like this. And I said, you mind if I look around? I said, sure. So he starts walking over where the couch is and he says to all my crew, he looks up at the TV, he says, what are y'all watching? And my crew said, hockey. And he said, well, no fucking shit. I mean, what team? And I'm like, okay, this is right. So this is, I think it's his personality. He's just kind of and then my crew is like, turned into Little Richard.
Yeah.
And then we all just didn't know what to do. And I said, we do like a little shot of Crown before we go on stage. You want to have a shot? He's like, no. And I said, okay. Well, they'll make sure they get your, if you want to say hi after, tell me how good I did. Something stupid. And he goes, what are you doing a shot of? I said, just Crown. He goes, all right, I'm in. So he does a shot of Crown with us. So I said, okay.
With the team.
He went to the show, sat and laughed the whole show.
Oh, I love it.
And then came back and was just on and on about how great the show was. And he says, you have so much stuff in here. That's what made me think of this prop.
Yeah.
You have so much stuff in here. I said, well, be careful. There's a lot of weird shit in there.
There is. It's an incredibly
and then I thought
decorated
of a prop that night when he left. Right when he left, I said, I got an idea. And they're like, for what? Because everyone comes in my room and looks around everywhere, right? So I got this little piece of plexiglass and I put super glue and I put sweet and low, like lines of Coke on this plexiglass with a straw taped to it or duct taped to it. So it looks like Coke on a mirror. Literally.
Yeah.
And I just put it there in the main part of my dressing room. So every night now, since he's been there, people walk in and they all just, they all see it and no one says anything. They just freak out. That's why I thought, too bad I didn't have for Sting because he would have just been like, holy shit, this guy's a fucking like
cokehead.
Yeah.
Not just that, but like, what a rock star. Like laying out for you. One guy.
I was going to say, there is a PS to this story that I love.
I don't even know these people. I don't have people back that I don't know, but it was just a random guy with some friends that I did know. He was just standing off the corner, and it was already kind of odd guy. I said, how's it going? He said, mind if I look around? I said, well, yeah, but I forget about that. He just walked around. I turn around. He says to me, "Do you mind?" And I was like, "What's that?" He says, "Do you mind?" And I was like, And I looked at him, and looked at me, and I said, "No, go for it." So he goes to, there's a thing, the straw is glued down too.
Yeah.
And there was like a bill also glued down, plus the 3 lines of Coke. And so he goes, and I see him, he's like this, and he goes to get a bill, and I said, "Dude, that's not real." Like, I go, "It's not real." And he just was like, "Are you?" I said, "No, you're fine. I do that on purpose." He's like, "I'm so embarrassed." I said, "No." He said, I said, "Well, of course you would have done it if it was really good." I felt so bad. The guy I'm so sorry. I just figured, it's there.
Yeah.
It's laid out for me.
One time I was filming a thing for his birthday, your 50th birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a bit about like, thanks for getting me sober. The sobriety is really working out well for me. And I had, with Sweet and Low, put out "Fuck Craig" on there.
Nice.
And I set it aside because I was getting ready to film
backstage at in
Five Finger Death Punch in London. So we're backstage, Five Finger Death Punch show. I've got that sitting over on the side. I'm doing press, and every person that comes in, I'm like, "Hey, this isn't real. I'm filming this thing for my buddy Craig. Cool." I didn't tell the press agent that it wasn't real. So she calls our manager and is like,
"Back in America,
you are never going to believe this. Chris Cale is doing press with lines of cocaine out on the table." And she called my day-to-day called and was like, "We know you're not doing that over there." I was like, "No." But yeah, she had totally thought it was real over there, but it was a prank for Craig.
We got to play that video on the show. We got to show the because it worked out so well. Well, dude, you got so many stories. Thank you for taking time.
Yeah,
to come
thanks for letting me come and tell some stories.
Thank you so much.
I love the name of the show. What a great name of the show.
Beardo, man, Beardo, Weirdo,
I love it.
and Carrot Top.
Yep.
The inspiration behind the movie Anaconda. Carrot Top.
Nice.
Joining us. Thanks for making time.
The new
for us.
Vince Neil, Nick Cage, and Carrot Top. Now featuring Craig Gass and Chris Cale.
Coming out.
Do you have a preference for where people go to find your stuff online?
Yeah, probably just carrottop.com or my Instagram at Carrot Top Live, and
All right, carrottop.com.
or theluxor.com or
And again, the show is highly, highly recommended. I've seen you several times.
Yeah, you have.
And it's always like so unique and always fun.
And he's always adding jokes. You know what I love? It's again, there's that thing about wanting to be included and wanting to be involved. And every once in a while, when I see Scott, he'll be like, "Hey, what do you think of this joke?" And I'll go, "Tell me the joke." And then if I add something, he'll go like, "Yeah, maybe I'll add that."
It's always great when you get an ad to it.
Absolutely. And I love being included. I love being, part of the team. So I get that. I totally get that.
I was yesterday, I'm going to leave on this. I just went to a bar and I said, I was drinking these non-alcoholic beers just because and I walk in, she goes, "Oh, sorry, Scott, bad news." I said, "What?" She's like, "We don't have any more NA beers." I said, "Oh, it's okay. What do you want then?" I said, "No, I'll just do a Crown on the Rocks." And this guy next to me is like, He goes, what? I said, no, I don't have. I'm not a recovery. I just like the beer.
Yeah.
He's either so great. He just the way he looked at me. Can I have an NA beer? We don't have that. Okay, how about a Crown? He's like, what the fuck?
I love that he's always trying to sneak in jokes. Yeah, I love that.
It was not a joke. The guy just went, what?
Yeah.
I said, no, I can drink. I just prefer to have a non-alcoholic, but I can do drink.
I love it. Go see Carrot Top. You already want to when you come to Vegas.
Oh, nice.
But I would recommend getting the meet and greet package. You can actually meet him. You can actually pay to have a photo with Carrot Top. Thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Awesome, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Carrot Top.